Hello, people of the internet.
Sup?
I'm American McGee. Hello, people
Martin.
And we are coming to you live from the underground lair here in Shanghai and the VPN Great Firewall hopping gods. Oh, sorry. Willing, we will have a nice 2-hour stream today where we do the usual things that include looking at art for our various projects, giving away prizes, catching up on all of the kind of business development and other stuff that's been going on. Actually, we were off in a holiday.
It's been 3 weeks. I hope we can still remember how to do this.
I've completely forgotten how to do this, but I know that we have a bunch of our insane children that are back. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, I was just wondering why that's showing 2 things now. Are we up and down? What?
So somebody says hearing an echo.
Yeah, what's? Oh. Maybe we're on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was seeing 2
There we
colors
go. Okay.
on glass wire.
We've fixed the echo. We happen to have a window open over here that was playing us. So yeah, it's been fixed, everybody.
So he told you we'd forgot how to do this.
Yeah, we did forget how to do this. So why don't we say hello? I see a lot of familiar names here. We've got Emo Nerd Queen and Craig Spurlock and Octo Chicken, and a new one I don't think I've seen before is Why You Looking at Me. Hello?
God's Big Gift seems new.
That is a new one.
John's, what's that? John's Skittles? Yep.
Yeah, a couple new names and also a couple of familiar insane children. So welcome to everybody. And yeah, we'll say again, we were on a 3-week hiatus. Kind of vacation.
Yeah, we normally do this every 2 weeks, but we also had a big old national holiday over here, which fell on a stream day.
It was Communism Day.
It was.
It actually is a combo in China. There are 2 holidays that they smush into one. One of them is National Day, which is supposed to mark the founding of the Communist Party in China in like 1949 or something, but that actual founding date is not in October. The founding date is sometime in another part of the year, but they move the celebration to October to have it coincide with what is a Chinese lunar festival that's been going on for thousands of years, and that is called Mid-Autumn Festival. And Mid-Autumn Festival is supposed to be like a celebration of just the farmers bringing in their crops. There's the fly. We have a fly today, by the way. Get your freaking bat ready. Yeah, so there's a fly that's joined us. He's been down here in my office bugging me for like 2 days now. So if you see us spazzing out and trying to kill something, that's what's going on.
It is.
Yeah. So anyway, what are we going to do? We're going to do some art review. We are going to give away some prizes today. What are we giving away? You seem preoccupied with the fly.
No, I just need this in an easily grabbable place.
So what we're going to give away today, I think many of you know that there is a new calendar that we've produced. And
Hype train incoming.
Woo! The calendar was Martin's brainchild. He's tried to get me to do a calendar for several years now, but he always mentions it too late in the year.
It's always like October time, and it's like, oh, it's too late to do a bloody calendar.
Yeah. So this year, you actually came to me and said calendar back in like July or something.
Maybe even earlier than that.
Maybe even earlier than that. And so I couldn't say, no, Martin, it's too late for a calendar. This time you got the timing right. So as a result, everybody gets a wonderful thing in their life, which is the Insane Children's 2021 calendar.
Yeah, look at it go. Should we hold up a real one?
There is a real one. Anyway, so that's going to be today's prize. We'll give away 4 of those in total. If you've been here before, you know how it works. Every half hour, on the half hour, we will do a dumb question, and it has nothing to do with your response to the question. It's just so that Nightbot can see you and you can be randomly selected to receive a calendar. So anyway, that's the prize for today.
I've not been thinking of questions.
Yeah, it's okay. You'll be terrible no matter what.
Probably.
Now there is a bunch of art to look at from all kinds of projects and stuff, but I do think that what you're really here for is to watch me suck terribly at my own game. So we're going to do a half hour of me being terrible at my own game, and then we will get into all the other stuff. My controller is buried under a pile of plush toys.
Like, a lot of plushies around here.
Literally, there's plush toys coming out our wazoo. There's like 6 here. I think we've gone mad.
And this is only half of the ones that were on the desk when I arrived this morning.
Our plush toys are breeding like rabbits. Uh-oh. This doesn't seem to be working.
Well, you need to maximize it.
Oh, come on. That's not necessary, is it? There we go. All right.
John Skittles, have you finished a playthrough on stream yet? Yes.
I have before.
But not this time. Was that back at, was that on Shinzalu?
Might have been when we were promoting Out of the Woods, I think.
Yeah. A long time ago.
And just to be clear, for those of you who've never seen me playing my own game on a stream, I'm terrible at my own game. So that's not a thing. You don't need to comment on that a lot. You just accept it. Yeah. But by the way, you are free to offer me advice, and you're also free to tell me that I'm terrible at my own game. That's fine. Doesn't bother me. But it's just that, it's not like don't be surprised, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
At least you are past that underwater section.
That was pretty frustrating, I think, for everybody. not just for me. It was frustrating for everybody involved.
Ooh, hype train happened. Level 3, whatever that means.
We don't know what that means. But that did actually give us a bunch of insight, gave me a bunch of insight on sort of things not to do in the future. So I'd say that, something good came out of my playing through that.
Right.
It's a good reminder as to, what's fun and what's not fun. I'll tell you, one of the things that's not fun is this lock-on mechanism.
We know.
I know. But it just constantly messes with me, it's not what I expect from modern games. I expect a toggle lock, not this. I expect press and you're locked, and then press again and you're not. Anyway,
I get you.
Yeah.
I was thinking of this recently about modern kind of quality of life improvements that's the standard now that you just expect in a game. Over the autumn holiday festival thing, I was, thinking, what game shall I play? I finished Ghost of Tsushima a while ago.
Right.
And there's a couple of big ones I want to play. I never got around to playing Sekiro, and I want to play Scarlet Nexus. But I'm going to wait till I've got the PS5.
Right.
For, high frame rates. So I had a look on the shop, and they got Sniper Elite 3. For £6.
Ooh.
I thought you can't go wrong for £6.
Is that the one where you can see as the bullet travels into the guy's ball sack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But while I was playing it, although it was okay, there was I just missed some just modern standard quality of life things.
Right.
There's no shoulder switch.
Right.
For looking, you can only aim right. So if you wanted to shoot someone round the left side of a wall,
can't switch which shoulder you're on, right or left.
And I'm Jesus Christ. The game was out in 2013, 2014, but
sure,
it got me thinking about quality of life improvements.
A lot of that stuff, though, that we sort of take for granted as things that are improving in the way that anyway. The things that we take for granted as the improvements that developers make in these games, oftentimes the developers, they have to pick and choose between having these features which we consider to be, conveniences, and they become standard. But what also happens is that the engine makers, like Epic, for instance, with the Unreal Engine, they begin to integrate some of these things as standard features to their engines, which means that when a good idea shows up in a particular game, that idea can be copied into the engine and made available in these libraries, and so that it spreads. And that's one of the things that's kind of one of the benefits about monopolistic behavior of companies like Epic when it comes to their engine spreading around the world, is that it does allow for smaller developers to have access to the design improvements that the larger developers invent and put into their games, right? So that it's one reason why sort of a roll your own indie developer struggles to get much done when they're trying to build their own engine, whereas if you go off the shelf with an engine like Unreal these days, you get a ton of that kind of stuff just at Just that wasn't me. You
Okay,
saw that. You
Yeah.
saw the game just paused mid jump.
I saw that one. That's a good time for the game to chug.
That was terrible. I swear, I didn't do that. That was totally the game, not me. Hey! Somebody just farted on me as I jumped there. That was good timing. They timed the fart perfectly with my jump.
That Truth Decay farted on you.
That was just epic timing there, Truth Decay. Congratulations. You ought to win some sort of prize for that. It was really good. I think, anyway, so my point is, a lot of times people knock on big companies for becoming monopolies, and, Epic obviously is in the news these days with their battle with Apple, and both sides are kind of the bad guys in the view of many people, because they're both giant monopolies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of that kind of game design stuff, where you want to have all those little lock-on features and camera moves and things that are helping you play, it's actually good for developers and for the market in general that these companies monopolize and then spread that kind of stuff around. So anyway,
There you go.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I bought it, I played it for a few hours, and then I just didn't go back to it. So,
Yeah.
it was cheap. Like I said, £6. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, and I still might play it.
Did you
a
shoot someone
bit
in the
more.
balls?
I didn't. I was just headshotting everything.
Which head? Sorry. I know that was a cheap one. But
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun.
There's the
old
fly.
bullet time, slow-mo.
Does that look like a breakable object, but it's not breakable?
Does look like a breakable object.
Right. You know what would be cool is if you managed to kill that fly coinciding with my killing of like a boss or something. That would be great.
And then it was gone.
Yeah, well, he sees you pull that thing out and he knows better than to mess with you.
Yeah. What's going on in chat? Do, 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 do. Real art? In my class of psychiatry, I use this game as reference. My teacher was amazed by the medical situation of McGee's Alice.
Yeah, well, we try to do some decent reference and research on these things and try to have it be as realistic as possible. And that's... Have I just acquired that and it skipped the cut? Oh, there it goes. So I've just got the teapot cannon. This is a good... Yeah. Throw an instant tea party. It will be a blast. Har har. It's a double entendre. There he is. Get him. Ow. Get him.
Is this
Martin.
thing charged?
Yeah, the light's on.
Well, that doesn't mean it's going to give a good zap.
Just do it. Don't...
I touch you with it.
Stop it. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work like that.
I swear I hit it then. We'll see.
You'll know if you hit him because it'll go zap.
Well, exactly. That's why I was saying, is it charged? And we'll try again later.
Anyway, the comment was about how somebody's using this in their psychology class, and I think that's very sweet of them to do that. And I think it's cool to hear that it works in that context, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
We do try to keep it grounded in... Look at that giant frame rate drop there. What's happening?
Bad coding. I think, it's GTX 1060 in this machine should be able to handle Madness Returns.
Yeah, it's not happy though.
Nabi Yang, seen in horror movies where you think there's a fly buzzing around you, but it's all in your head.
Or it's Satan.
Or it is in your head.
This was trending last week on Twitter. I guess there was the vice presidential debate in the U.S. and then, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the only reason I heard about it was because a fly landed on someone's head,
Right.
and then everybody had to make a big deal about that, which is really indicative of like the terrible state of U.S. politics. That it has nothing to do with. There he goes. There he goes, Martin. Fly. Yeah, the politics has nothing to do with like what policies these politicians have or what's gonna... Ah! I remember this. This is bad. No, run away! Ah!
Umbrella!
I remember this sort of vacuum... Umbrella doesn't save you from fire-throwing nonsense.
Doesn't it?
No.
No.
Oh man, this is not good. I'm on fire. And now that the frame rate has dropped again as well.
Leandra Lavanda says umbrella.
Okay, alright. I'll try next time.
Vic52. Hello, how are you guys doing?
Terribly.
I'm fine, apart from this fly. But other than that, it's all good. Thank you very much.
So somebody believes that the umbrella is really going to help with that. That seems really... Oh, it does seem to be helping. Alright, I don't know, you know, what an umbrella can do against fire. Am I supposed to be able to come out of this and attack this thing, or am I just going to...
I'm sure
somebody's playing the Benny Hill theme. Oh boy.
I was going to say, I'm sure we'll get bored peeing fire at some point.
Oh, I see. It's got its little face out here in front now. Maybe I can whack that. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay.
It was Truth Decay, I believe, like the Benny Hill theme.
Well, he's got good timing going on here. I'll give him that. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
So this is it. He squirts you with fire, and then once he gets tired of that, then you whack him in the face with something. Okay.
All right.
This game's got some interesting monster design stuff going on. I feel like the timing on that is not great. Oh no, and of course now I've been... What's going on here? He doesn't seem to be bothered much by that. Is it because he's waiting for me to do the tea thing on him, on his face? I think he wants to be teed on.
Well, you did just get the teapot, so maybe it's a thing.
All right. Here,
can the tea quell the flames?
Nah.
Do you think?
Nah, I think we just need to teapot him in the face. Let's just tea all over his face. It sounds like something that would be in the Trump dossier.
Teeing on someone.
Getting teed on somebody. Wasn't that the whole point of it? Oh man.
It's not a teapot.
I was trying to do teapot and it didn't work.
Isn't the teapot overpowered? Didn't somebody say that sometimes?
I don't know, but now it's become overheated, so it's not working anymore. Well,
Ex du Noir, just teabag his face.
We're trying.
Alice teabag someone?
That's not right. It's not Medal of Honor or Call of Duty or whatever that game is where you do that.
Call of Duty.
This seems egregious. Like, the timing on this feels really weird.
I'm sure it's working. Just...
Oh, look, I finally knocked his face off. Okay.
Say, check the boss's health bar.
It doesn't have a health bar.
Another one of those quality of life things that you would expect.
But I remember the conversation when we made this game about not including a health bar because we felt that it detracted from the art.
Well, a lot of modern games have HUD modifications, don't they?
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things that we discussed for this was whether or not you could have a health bar that was only there when you needed it. And I remember there was quite a debate on the topic, and we, in the end, I think we ultimately obviously opted not to have any kind of health indicators, because on monsters like that, the idea was that you'd see them broken apart a bit, and so that the breaking apart was supposed to be the indicator.
Right.
I always really liked this scene, by the way. I thought this was pulled off very well in terms of art. Just the sort of Hatter's Tea Party table. Hey, there it goes. Floating around in space up there. That's pretty cool.
It's good looking level.
Beautiful level. Very, very well done.
I liked, speaking of health bars shown in-game, Dead Space showed your health bar in a very good way.
On the back.
It was on your back, your lit up exosuits.
Yeah, I remember that.
I enjoyed that.
We're going to have to figure out what this frame rate nonsense is later on, because this is it's threatening to kill me all over the place.
It's time to upgrade, get an RTX 3080.
I don't know what that means.
For playing Madness Returns.
So are you keeping an eye on the comments over there? Yeah?
We're bantering as well.
I just don't trust you, Martin. I feel like you're doing a disservice to our
I'm doing more things than usual. Like, chat to you, watch the game, look at chat, attack a fly. I think it's alright for me to not be on the ball for some of them. It's gone again. Have you heard of Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah.
No.
No, what's that? Never heard of Kingdom Hearts. What are they? Didn't they do like 2 and 3 and 4 of Kingdom Hearts?
There's quite a lot of them.
There's quite a few.
Apparently, mimicking its game style would be cool.
Well, a lot of people said that Kingdom Hearts actually mimicked Alice. So when the first Kingdom Hearts came out, I remember getting a flurry of emails from people who said that they had built some Alice content into the original Kingdom Hearts, and that there was some of it that looked very kind of borrowed.
Right.
Somehow. Does that sound right to people? I can't remember if it was the first or the second one or what it was that I'm remembering. But I remember there being a bit of a faux controversy over some similarities and some style of something that they did in there. And
Right.
I don't know. It was ages ago.
Remember that.
You just keep an eye on the chat and see if anybody...
Will do.
By the way, it wasn't about gameplay, game style, or anything like that. I just remember that there was something that they did. I feel like they put Alice in there, but it was the Disney version. Because it was Disney linked up, game, obviously. There he goes. Don't hit me with that thing. Martin and his fly.
You guys don't know how annoying this fly is. When we were setting up the streaming PC, it's like bumping into my head and stuff.
He likes you.
I know.
Yeah, he must think you smell really good.
It's the axe. Can't resist the axe.
Boy.
Yeah, can't wait for that fly to land on American's head.
I don't care.
If it does, you're getting booped.
That's fine.
Yes, somebody said earlier, I think it's scrolled past. Yes, we know the next-gen consoles are coming. I'm very excited. I do nothing but refresh YouTube all day long, just looking for every nugget of PS5 info. So that's where I'm at, not an Xbox. I'm a Sony pony, or whatever the insult that's going around the internet is these days.
Yeah, well, we talked about this before. I don't understand why. You said something about a screw has caused people to believe that the war is over.
Yeah, because you have to screw in the stand.
Right.
Sony have lost this generation. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've never cared much for the whole console war nonsense. It just doesn't mean that much to me. And I have a personal preference I've mentioned before that's purely... like, a lot of my preference came out of the weird limitations of living in China. So early on, it was a lot easier to get cheap... We were able to get cheap Xboxes in China much better than we could get PlayStations. The PlayStation premium on buying a PlayStation here was much higher. So I ended up buying Xbox, and it was just simply a price thing. And then my Xboxes all suffered Red Ring of Death stuff, and that meant that after like my third Xbox, was it the Xbox 360? Yeah.
The Red Ring, yeah.
Yeah, so after my third 360, I gave up, and I was like, all right, I'm buying a PlayStation, and it doesn't matter that it's more expensive because I don't have to buy 3 of them. So I bought a PlayStation, and I never went back.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah, mine was just from ye olde days. I remember back when PS1 and like the Saturn was out. I actually got a Saturn.
What word are you saying?
Saturn.
Saturn.
Sega Saturn.
What's a Saturn? Is that like a? Do you also wear a satin dress?
Only on special occasions.
Yeah, I'd like to see you in a satin dress.
But yeah, that was. I remember enjoying it.
Does anybody else hear that? Martin saying
Saturn.
A satin.
Do you say Saturn?
There's an R in there. There's literally an R in that word. Yes. Do you say Saturn?
Saturn.
Oh boy.
Okay, the Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
But yeah, then
now
at
you
work.
Sound like an American.
At work, which was a video game place, so it wasn't unusual.
You mean at walk?
At work.
Walk. You were playing your Saturn.
Yeah, somebody brought in their PlayStation and they were showing off Resident Evil. And I was like, oh my god, this looks amazing. And they showed off a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, oh man, I hope I can get like this for the Saturn. And they were like, well, that's not happening. You know, congratulations, you got the wrong console.
Yeah, you did actually buy the wrong console.
So I picked up a PlayStation 1 back then, got it from a shop in another city, actually. I had to go to a different city to get it.
It's kind of funny, in the early days, when we had all things like Saturns, and we had the Jaguar, and the Atari Jaguar, and all this stuff, and we would get these as development kits to the office when we were making like Doom and Quake. And so we had the Xbox development kit, the Sony PlayStation 1 or whatever development kit. We had the Nintendo development kit. We had the Saturn, and we had the Jaguar. Jaguar. How do you say Jaguar?
Jaguar.
Jaguar. You put another syllable in there. That Jaguar. Anyway, I got a sense of what was gonna succeed or not just when we were playing with the development kits. Like, you just felt like the Jaguar wasn't gonna make it, you know. But the Sony development kits were really solid. They looked really sexy. That was kind of the thing, was like, if they made a sexy development kit, you knew that they were putting money into it and it was gonna succeed. So what am I supposed to do here? Oh, this thing. I'm supposed to smoke pot. There we go. Do drugs, kids.
Yeah, there you go. I've been Sony since probably like the late 90s. Just, I chose one and stuck with it. There you go, been happy enough.
Well, there you go. So you are a Sony fanboy.
Sony pony, allegedly.
Sony pony. Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say I'm relatively agnostic. I just don't care. But I finally ended up on Sony just because, like I said, the Xboxes kept breaking on me.
Right.
And now it's sort of like the thing you know. You know, I know my Sony thing and I like it, so it's fine.
Yep.
Somebody's shooting me in the back with red goo. Oh, this guy. It's rude. That was rude.
American McGee. What were your favorite games early on? Doesn't really
Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer.
Man, I played on the original PlayStation. I played Ridge Racer to death.
Yeah.
I mean, I could not stop playing Ridge Racer. I thought drifting was just the best thing ever. And that was the first game that I ever got a really solid sense of drifting out of. So I was very, very much into racing games that had drifting in them, like solid drifting, you know. So,
right.
I don't know, what was your first? What would be your first one that comes to mind when you think of?
Difficult to say. If I'm just going back to like PS1 times, then I mean, like many people, I was probably wowed by Final Fantasy VII.
Right. I never
just
got
the
into
length of the game and the cutscenes and all the different. It was pretty complicated how you could upgrade and stuff.
I never got into the Final Fantasy games. I've never played a Final Fantasy game from start to finish. I'll just say that right now.
Right.
Yeah, it just never did it for me. And then back in those console days, while we did play things like Ridge Racer, I played a lot of racing games on the Sony. My go-to machine back then was actually the Nintendo. And so I was playing all the Zelda games and all of the Mario World games and all of that kind of crap, Yoshi's Island, and I was very, very into that whole genre. So, yeah. I at that time, I would have been like a Nintendo kid or whatever you call yourself. You just mainly focus on Nintendo games.
Right.
Because I liked the storytelling and the adventure stuff that they offered, and the way that the designs were so clean. Like, I really got off on the fact that it was clear that whoever was making these games was thinking from start to finish about the super clean integration of story design, character design, world design. You know, it was just incredible to me, anyway. So, what am I supposed to do now? Speaking of terrible game designers,
apparently I might be missing something.
You're missing a lot, Martin.
So Wendy J says exactly what I was thinking to patient 322. It would help him if Martin would read it to him, but I don't know what I'm supposed to read.
Anything, Martin.
I'll keep an eye out for anything.
You're terrible at not reading.
I've been reading a lot.
You're not. You're clearly missing something.
Jennifer once rented a PS1 to play Final Fantasy VII.
Wow.
Didn't have a memory card, so stayed awake for 16 hours playing it.
Oh, right, because if you rented a console to play games, you couldn't save on that console. Yeah, that was a problem back then. Is this the first time we're encountering these teacup guys? I feel like it is.
Here we go. Use the teapot cannon on the drifting ruin's exposed face to kill it instantly.
Oh, come on. I don't need to know stuff like that. That's like smart strategy stuff. You've clearly not What are you talking about? Expecting me
going back to Ridge Racer. This is quite good. Like in the Namco arcade where I used to work, we had a full-sized Ridge Racer.
Oh,
it
yeah.
had the actual Mazda MX-2 car surrounded by projection screens.
What's a Mazda?
Mazda. What do you call it? Mazda.
Did your dag like going for a ride in your Mazda? So anyway, yes, the original, the Whatsy Ridge Racer thing, that was the. How does that work? I know there's a. It's not working, huh? Anyway, so I know that there was the full-size Ridge Racer cabinets in the arcades. Those are pretty freaking cool.
It cost £2 to have a go.
Yeah, that was not cheap. I remember those days.
I was quite far away with that one.
Uh-huh.
Oh well.
Why would you throw your dumb fireballs at my rabbit? Never mind, why would I throw a rabbit at that particular moment? Go on. Hey, there we go.
Wendy J's enjoying my fly swatting, apparently.
I thought that would be a thing today. I thought people would enjoy that. Oh, man.
Yep. I'm trying to get him. Vic.
Alright, well, you know what time it is. We have actually arrived at prize time. So as soon as I take out this colossal... Is this a colossal ruin or a...
It's a mid-range ruin, isn't it?
A middle ruin. Is that a thing? Anyway, as soon as I take this guy out... There we go. And go collect all of his goodies, we're going to give away a prize. Now, you'd better come up with a question. I have one.
Oh, good.
I have a... don't press that button. Hey,
oh my
no!
God, jeez, what did you do?
Jeez, Rick. Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Okay. Cheese and rice. All right. There we go. 30 minutes of me being terrible at my own game. We're going to give away a prize because it's a half hour. And what are we going to give away? We're going to give away this calendar. And give me that. Are you just leaving this turned on?
No.
You are. It's just on. No wonder you think it's not working.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're not pressing the other button.
Oh, I see. Because it has like a full-time on mode as well, which I think is what you had it in. If it's lit up, then it's just full-time on. Anyway, so the question is this. Yes, trust me. It's my fly swatter. I know how it works. So the question is this. What would you name the fly?
Name the fly.
Yeah, name the fly. And that way Nightbot knows that you're there and you're going to win one of these tasty calendars. By the way, don't eat the calendars. I mean that metaphorically, not literally. So
good calendar.
Let's see. We've got Flybert. We've got Speed Racer. Marty McFly. Ha!
Good one.
That's a good one. Richard Goldblum. Oh, that's a good one from The Fly. Jeffrey. That was a good movie, The Fly.
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah. That was one of those movies that made you feel kind of bad for the bad guy because, you know, he clearly didn't intend to become a fly, but then over the course of his transformation, he becomes more and more terrible, and you sort of hate him, but you also feel really sad that he's in that situation. Nobody wants to be turned into a fly. So, what else do we got? Edgar.
Fernando.
Brundlefly.
Flygon.
I don't want another calendar, says Wendy. But I think Buttercup McSmartass is a good name for the fly. Well, now because you said that, you're going to win the calendar, Wendy.
Well, we did say, you know, if you have a calendar already, we could swap it out for an art print of some description.
We can do that. Or you can choose to pass on it and roll again. So there you go. Let's go ahead and roll it and see who wins. And it's Mex Player Snell.
Oh, don't be in Mexico.
Why?
It's difficult to, not just expensive, it's just weird getting stuff over there.
It is a little difficult. But anyway, Mex Player SNL, is that for Saturday Night Live?
I think so.
Using. Anyway, congratulations. You have won yourself a Insane Children's 2021 calendar, the thing you see on the screen there. And all you got to do is send us an email. How does it work?
Send an email, support@mysterious.design. Tell us what you won, your name, address, phone number, all formatted correctly on separate lines. yeah, do this within the next 24 hours, or you're not getting your stuff, and don't come crying to us about it.
There you go.
There
Did you
go.
tell him to format it so it doesn't make us angry?
I did. I told
Great.
him. Separate lines.
Okay, so some of you may have noticed that, where am I trying to point to? Down there, we have updated the logo, which used to be our friends Andrew and Deborah. Their podcast, Freaky Fandoms, has now been updated to be In Search of Darkness 2, the logo for that project, which Andrew and Deborah are also involved with. And so they are still our biggest and best sponsors and friends. And we did want to just quickly point out that you should go and follow what they're doing for this horror documentary, the second version of it, 80s Horror Doc, over on Instagram. Yeah, it's a fun Instagram to follow. Lots of horror movie kind of memorabilia and
Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead.
It's called Vengeance the Demon when I saw that. That was quite a cool name.
Cassandra, who is Elvira. Right. I grew up watching Elvira in Texas. That was my first exposure to like boobs, you know.
It's a good one.
Yeah, kind of probably a little bit inappropriate to allow children to watch booby things like that, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, go over and follow 80s Horror Doc over on Instagram, and that way you can keep up to date with all of the things that are being done on that film. And again, our good friends Andrew and Deborah from Freaky Fandoms are involved with that as producers, and would appreciate you following and supporting and doing all the things with them.
Excellent shout out.
There you go. Now, we're going to look at art review. Let's see what comes up first. This is just going to be like a luck of the draw thing. Nope, not that. There. Okay, so this is a piece of art from what we're working on for Oz Adventures, is what we're calling it. For those of you who have not been brought up to speed, so our little team is working on a pitch document right now. There is a very large publisher slash... they kind of do everything. I mean, they're just huge. As far as I understand it, they're in the top 5 or 10 of largest game publishers in the world. Anyway, they approached us. They said they'd like to support us in making games. They really like what we're doing on Alice, but they said that what they'd like us to do is build a new studio and that we have a smaller project to work on first. And so I proposed, and they already knew about Oz, Wizard of Oz. I proposed Oz, and they loved that. And so we've been working on this proposal for Oz, and that would be the first game that the studio produces, and then that would lead into us then building Alice Asylum, which is the thing that we have been working on all the design and art and all that stuff for the last 2 years with the loving, helpful support of our insane children over on Patreon. So there is this document that's getting built right now, and it's turning out really, really nice. I'll pop that up on screen really quick. We're going to go through this in full a little bit later in the stream, but this is what the team has been working on in the background. It is an update to the Mysterious Studios pitch and obviously it's going to Redacted. That's
that famous studio, Redacted.
Yes, that's actually a good name for a game developer. Anyway, so this is what's going to be put in front of them. It answers all the questions they've asked about who is the team, where is the team, what are the projects, what are our projections for budgets and schedules and all that kind of stuff. So this is the behind the scenes of what goes into us trying to secure money to make a game.
Dream has disconnected straight away.
She says it's because I mentioned the cursed words, says Wendy. Well, those of you following along over on YouTube, we have just lost our stream, but it looks like it's come back up again.
Oh. There it is.
Yeah. What happened? It's back.
We're back.
Okay.
Allegedly.
What happened? I hope we're back. It says we're back. Okay.
Yay.
So we are back. Where was I?
We were talking about Redacted.
So yeah, Redacted. So this is the presentation we're putting together, and there he goes. And it does talk about all the plans that we have for projects and what our studio is going to be like and what our creative process is like, which includes crowd design, which all of you are a big part of. Thank you very much. So anyway, we'll get into this in just a moment here. Back to this piece of art. This is from Oz Adventures. So the idea that I've come up with for this pitch, and many of you know that this will be my third attempt at getting a version of Oz turned into a game.
Third time lucky.
Hopefully third time's a charm, or third time lucky, we'll see. But there's a ton of material, right? There's over a dozen of the original books, and then there is another more than a dozen of the post-bombs demise day PDD. Anyway, there are another, I think, 13 or 14 books that are written by other authors that followed on to the original 13 or something in the original series. Anyway, and as our insane children have pointed out over on Patreon, if you want to dive into lore and background and story and characters and locations, there is a tremendous amount there. And so first thing I want to say is that what we're proposing for this idea does not mean to undercut or ignore what it is that is already contained in the world. Not at all. What I'm trying to do with the structure that we're outlining here in telling the story of Oz is to do it in a unique fashion where, if you can imagine that there's like a 500-year history of Oz, or actually it would be thousands of years. Okay, so Oz has been around as long as, say, like China has been around with all of its dynasties, right? And if you know anything about China's dynasties, you know there was the Tang dynasty and the Qing dynasty and all these different dynasties, and they all lasted several hundred years at a time. But the overall history of China, goes back 5,000 years. So imagine Oz as a place with a 5,000-year history, and then within that there are these dynasties that last, say, around 500 years. Now, I want to go and explore the Oz version of, say, the Tang dynasty, which lasts for 300 or 400 years, but I want to do it through the vehicle of the visitors who find themselves sucked into Oz against their will. And what I've done is we've come up with a couple of different story notions. There is, say, for instance, what's on screen here is these pirates, right? So pirates, they're doing piratey stuff. It's, the 1700s or whatever. And they're out on their pirate ship, and they get caught in a storm on the way to some island that they're following, a treasure map, and then wham bam, Bob's your uncle, they're in Oz. But they don't realize it at first. At first they think, hey, we found the island we were looking for. Let's go find treasure. Right. But it slowly begins to dawn on them that this isn't Treasure Island at all. And meanwhile, as they begin to interact with the characters and the politics of Oz at that moment, we are telling the larger drama of the politics, the wars, the battles for power in Oz. And these guys just happen to get kind of caught up in it. And they may or may not survive, because in a sense, they don't matter. Like, yeah, they matter because we're going to become attached to them. We'll think old, crusty, one-hand Bob here. He's got two hands. We're going to have to fix that. But anyway, we may not see them through to your traditional happy ending. Now, I jokingly said that it would be kind of funny if one of these pirates who arrives with a wooden peg leg and like a hook for a hand, over the course of the game becomes more and more wood until he turns into sort of a precursor for the straw man.
Right.
So I mean, I think we'll have these characters in some instances find their way into the lore, the general lore of Oz, but at the same time, they're meant to be a kind of vehicle that provides us an interesting perspective on the history of Oz. And now imagine within that 500-year sort of the Ozian Tang dynasty, you get 5 such adventures happening. So now you get 5 windows on drama. So there's 5 total stories. One may be pirates, the next may be like a crashed World War II pilot. Here's the pirates fighting some sort of skull ghosts or whatnot.
Could one be about Anne Hathaway?
Well, yeah. So one is going to be basically Anne Hathaway in Oz. The thing is that when you look at one of these as a whole, there may be like, say, a 12-hour game, but it's divided up into, say, 3-hour chunks, each chunk being devoted to a particular group of people. In this case, we have a Chinese World War II pilot whose plane crashes. Again, he believes he may have crashed, on an island off of China, or who knows. But in fact, he realizes after a little while that, these are not tigers, these are Kalidas, and that he's not in Kansas anymore. So anyway, that's what we've got going for Oz, and that's kind of the foundation for the story and the way I want to build this. Now that's all being contained in the document that we were looking at over here for our presentation. So anyway, there's a lot to make clear in there. Obviously, this is a new attempt at a new twist on Oz. And there's a lot of foundation and groundwork to be done, but that's kind of where that's at right now.
Do we want to explain Anne Hathaway?
Yeah, so right now, I've asked the team, obviously pirates are near and dear to me. I think pirates in Oz makes a lot of sense. In fact, one of the post-bomb books was actually called The Pirates of Oz, or Pirates in Oz. So this isn't like a completely new invention of mine. There is one of the official Oz books, not one of the original ones, but one of the official Oz books is the story of pirates in Oz. So I love this. I love the idea of swashbuckling pirates going about their piratey stuff and then being like, where are we? Like, what's going on here? Yeah. This is future Oz. So this would be, let's say that there's a period in the history of Oz where they've become a bit more advanced, we've become a bit more advanced, and the people who arrive here, maybe they're more like spacey time travelers or aliens or who knows what.
You can tell they're advanced. They've got floating stuff.
They'd have floating stuff anyway, so I think but yes, you're right. What happened here? Well, we use this program called Monday to organize all of our thoughts about what we're working on. And if you were to dig through Monday, you'd just find mountains and mountains of text and writing back and forth and trying to, kind of riff off of each other. And so I had asked Omri to work on a concept where another World War II pilot had crashed, but in this instance it was a Chinese pilot. So we did a bit of research into that history. And then the first thing that Omri sent over was this. And I was like, why does your Chinese dude look like Anne Hathaway? I mean, it really does. It's not just me, right?
It looks like her.
Okay, so I said, why does your Chinese guy look like Anne Hathaway? And I went and I found a pose that's basically the same pose with Anne Hathaway. And I was like, that's not right. Not what your typical Chinese dude looks like. And I sent along this, which is a fairly typical World War II Chinese guy. And it's the uniform. Now, he got the uniform and the hat and the stuff mostly right, I think, in his initial. Although I think this is more of like a Allied GI kind of American hat, and a little bit less. So I said, that's a man, baby, You need to fix this up. So he thought that was funny, and that was his response. But just so you know, while we're working on this stuff, we are also having fun. This is where your Patreon money goes.
Sorry.
Has the chat died? I haven't seen it move in a while.
No, it's fine. I think maybe we lost some viewers when the internet wobbled.
Oh, it's still there.
It's still there.
So anyway, this was the final version that he did, and so Omri, we need to have a talk. I mean, when I looked at this, the first thing I thought was like, "Welcome, Shitty Walk. Take your order, please." I mean,
right?
It's a bit racist, Omri. And that's coming from somebody who lives in a house full of Chinese people. I mean, I've been in China so long now, I consider myself Chinese, and my child is like technically Chinese because he's born in China, has a Chinese passport, ID number, whatever. So when I saw that, I just thought like, hey, come here. And then it reminded me of Short Round from that. And I said to you, I thought Short Round was probably one of the most racist characters that's been created. You cheat, Dr. Jones, you cheat. Even though, at the start of the movie, Jones acquires Short Round in Shanghai. But that whole sequence was actually kind of very racist. And then Short Round just continued to be racist. And then the fact that they went to India and they did all these sort of very racist Indian tropes, of like eating monkey brains and stuff.
Anyway. Yeah. But it was supposed to be in like, the 1930s? Like Temple of Doom, was it?
Yeah, it was.
I imagine that like a 10-year-old Chinese child probably did sound a lot like that in the 1930s if they were just learning English.
Look, I can't say I necessarily I don't know, but I won't say I necessarily have a problem with the things that people did in film in the past, within reason, obviously. But it is funny that in today's culture, if you were to try to make that film and you did that, and you had him have that over-the-top sort of pidgin English accent, people would get very upset. And I imagine, Omri... Back to Omri. I imagine there are going to be some people in the world who feel very upset that you turned Anne Hathaway into a Chinese person.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe that's more politically correct but I think that's like gender swap and race swapping.
No.
I'm not allowed to do that
that's
either.
That's like the ancient one in Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
You know how mental people went over that.
I know. So, yeah, they did go crazy over that they cast, what's her name? Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. Well, we're casting Anne Hathaway as the Chinese guy. So,
there you go.
Get over it. And by the way, who's going to play the tigers? The Kaladas.
Sure.
Maybe we can get that
dressed up.
We can get that Joe Exotic guy to play the Kaladas in Oz. That would probably get us some controversy.
Apparently, according to Lucky Dragon, Anne Hathaway did narrate the Oz book on Audible.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
It all comes full circle.
It's the stars have aligned.
So the other image that we got done was this one. Now, this was Allied sort of, I don't know if they're probably American pilots who also get shot down during World War II. I think getting shot down as an entrance into Oz is kind of fun, getting sucked up in a hot air balloon or pulled up in a tornado or being in a boat or a plane, whatever, can end you up in Oz. And so these guys must be a bit freaked out. Like, what's this green stuff? Where are we? We're not in Kansas anymore. Oops.
Say what you're zooming in on there.
That was an accident. So in the background here, speaking of Temple of Doom, this is very sort of Temple of Doomy. Like, there's these giant flying monkeys. And then there's obviously some temple business going on back here. So every time I see one of these, I see this and I automatically think this is an amazing entrance to a story, because you just get it. Guys crash, they're concerned about survival and being rescued, and meanwhile what they don't realize is just on the other side of their wrecked aircraft is something very
mad shit going on.
Exactly. So I just think that's a really good setup.
What if flying monkeys get in the engine or break the propellers?
Well, during the crash, that could certainly happen. And it would be kind of funny that they were kind of fishing a flying monkey carcass out of the engine, and they're like, Captain, I don't think that's a pigeon, or
as they were going down, just flying monkeys bouncing off the windscreen.
That could be pretty good.
Oh, I'm seeing monkeys.
Yes, I think that could be pretty good. Girls Totally Don't Poop says, so will it be an action game or be more point and click? So I don't do point and click games. I don't know anything about point and click games.
Leave
I don't
that to LucasArts.
Play point and click games, but no, it's going to be an action adventure, exploration, survival, third person over the camera. It may, in some of these instances, you may have like a squad or a team that come along. But we're definitely aiming for something that is suited to our skill set, which focuses on 3D action adventure type games, right? So that's what we're doing here.
There you go. Girls Totally Don't Poop.
I thought they do. What happens when they just fill up with poop and then they
fill up?
Huh. That sounds uncomfortable.
And eventually they give birth to a baby.
Is that where babies come from?
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. He's right there, man. He's teasing you.
He is.
So why don't we take a break here really quick and just start looking at the presentation, because there's a lot of. Go on, Martin. You're not going to get him. You're just not. It's not going to happen.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
For him to pop back up over the monitor.
Right. So I think some of you have seen stuff that kind of looks like this in the past, because this is a reworking of the studio pitch deck that we were doing previously, and we did show this. We did show the original version to Redacted, and they really liked it. So they were the ones who asked us to answer additional questions and put them into this deck, because they have a process whereby in their games division there's kind of like a review council or a review board. I don't know. Review council sounds more mystical.
The Council of Ricks.
The Council of Review. So this has to go in front of the Council of Review, which is made up, I think they said, of like 7 or 8 people. And they sent us a list of specific questions and requirements for things to put in here. So the reshaping of this document is in response to their questions. Now, I did notice that over on Patreon, a couple people had said, "Hey, does this mean you've got that you've also got money for Alice?" And I guess we never really came out and just stated it, because I felt like it was a bit obvious, because we've melded Oz and Alice together in these pitches, and when you see it, I just think like people would be like, "Yeah, okay, they did." Yeah, the answer is yes. This group wants to fund both. They want to fund us to start up. They want to fund us to build something kind of smaller to cut our teeth on and build our studio. And then once we've shown ourselves to be competent and successful with the first thing, and I don't mean financially successful, by the way, they've even made that clear. Like, if we make something like Oz and it just doesn't take off, and it's mainly for content reasons or because it's a new IP or whatever, that's not the end of the story. They are very interested in Alice. And I can't go into some of the details about how interested they are, but I will say that in the past, they have worked with other developers and other IPs, intellectual properties, and they've done deals that have freed those IPs from their chains, and they're talking about doing that with us as well. So Oz is viewed in this context as a necessary stepping stone and a part of the function of getting to Alice. But we're not going to get to Alice straight away. So just to be clear about that, yes, if all this goes through, it does mean we are locked in on a path to making Alice Asylum. So just be very clear about that.
All right.
Yes.
The fly has landed. I can see it. It's on the light behind the desk.
Well, you're just going to have to leave it.
Damn it.
Yeah. Patient 322 says flies are hard to get because they have so many eyes on their head. There. Okay.
And yeah, the little shits.
Yeah, they're not nice. Now, this slide isn't really new. The fact that we're going to make games and merchandise and that we're going to leverage an international fan community, we've talked about that before. But I do know that a lot of people often ask, like, why do you guys spend so much time making crap? Like, why are you making rabbits and
you always kind of get a couple of comments about that if we post something on a Facebook page.
Right.
Ooh, more crap, just give us the game.
Yeah, so and I've explained this before, but it's actually an integral part to what makes us investable to a publisher or a financier like the guys we're talking to, because first of all, I think a a lot of people are starting to think that the traditional way of making games and marketing games could stand to evolve a bit. And the other thing is that because we've been making crap and selling it, we actually have a really strong foundation for the financials for the company that would be invested into. And that gives the guys that are looking at us a reason to give us potentially a higher valuation. And that means basically we would get more money. And that's really important when you're going to talk to people who are going to give you money because they're concerned about making money. Like, nobody gives anybody money to lose money, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand this. Investors don't invest in things that aren't already going. You have
Mind blown.
A lot of people think that investors are you go, hey, I've got an idea, and they go, that's brilliant, take some money. No. What investors do is they want to see that you actually have already built something and that it's being successful, and then they will come and invest in you. So we've been doing stuff like this. By the way, ignore the numbers in here, and also the misspellings, like Bruce. What's Bruce? And just to be really clear, these are not the numbers we're thinking of charging for a game bundle. These were actually taken from another model we were building just for Alice, and that was just for AAA console title. And I can't remember exactly who we were pitching this to, but this is one of the things we have to do when we go to pitch and raise money, is we have to do these breakdowns of, what the lifetime value of a particular product is and how much money it's going to generate and all that kind of stuff. Just to get back to it, one of the reasons why we're including merch in this is that it allows us to, in the parlance of the pandemic, to flatten the curve. That curve being the burn rate curve. And also it allows us to increase the chance of the company's survival in the event that a game doesn't sell as well as we had initially projected, or it takes longer. So we also talk with these guys about the concepts like long tail. That is, you and the game survive long enough that you're able to iterate on it and improve it and eventually get it to sell, but it may take you, longer than just a 2-week release window for that to happen. And keeping in mind that this chart, this is what, when you see a traditional console AAA game launch, like Alice Madness Returns would be a great example. This was the Alice Madness Returns sales cycle. We launched, it sold like crazy, it peaked out, and then it dropped down to almost nothing. And when I'm saying this, I'm talking about the retail box product. But what we're trying to suggest on a game like Oz is that the sales cycle could continue on and have these peaks and valleys as a function of updates and merchandise releases and tie-ins with merchandise, and that we keep it alive via a number of different models. And a lot of that is predicated on what we're doing with merch, which we'll get into some more later on. But it means that we're proposing a model that's quite different than what a lot of people would be normally used to, which is this. You spend 2 years prior to this moment making a game. You do a tremendous amount of hugely expensive marketing right here. You launch it sells like crazy, and then it just dies. We don't want that. We want to have the customers involved all the way back here in the development, so they're getting early access, they're getting builds, they're getting their voices heard, and yeah, we're linking that into merchandise, calendars, t-shirts, toys, whatever. And then the game is launched, it does really well, and then we continue on in the long tail with that same combination of customer interaction and merchandise and game development. So anyway, all that's a really important part of the story that we have to tell in order to get people to give us millions of dollars to make a game.
Excellent stuff.
Phew.
Now we just need to say that every time somebody comments on a Facebook comment.
Well, maybe we'll clip that part. We'll clip that out, and then we will what am I trying to say? We'll make a small video, and you can point people to
FAQ.
it, and you can say to them. All right, Martin, it's your turn.
All right.
Time to give away
a calendar.
Where did it go? There it is. We're going to give away a calendar.
Look at it. It's amazing. The question, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being doubtful, 10 being extremely likely, am I going to get that fly during the stream?
I think...
I'm thinking it's a 1.
Yeah, I'm thinking negative 500.
Negative 500.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least Vic's got faith in me.
I just don't see it happening.
I got close a couple of times.
Negative 1 million says... I think you might end up with... Negative 1 million means that by the end of the stream, you're going to become the fly.
Become the fly.
Yes. Wow.
Maybe that's what we should do. We should try and, beckon it in with fly noise. So
speaking... Fly jazz. So So speaking of becoming a fly, you know that Halloween is just around the corner. And Martin and I are going to dress up for Halloween. We're going to have a live stream a few days before. I think it's the 28th. 28th, 29th?
One of them.
The Thursday is the 29th for us. It's a 28th for you if you are living in the U.S. Basically 2 weeks from today. So we will have a live stream on that date, and that will be our Halloween live stream, and we will get dressed up. And we have not told each other what our costumes are. So yeah, you'll have to join us as we surprise each other with our costumes, and then you can also guess what we are. Like, I didn't know what you were last time. You were some sort of
It was Goku.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Really? You didn't get Dragon Ball?
I don't touch Dragon Balls. I don't touch any kind of balls. All right.
Really?
Let's roll it here. I can't see because you've put your crap sugar water in the way of the monitor there. Yes, thank you.
Sugar water, it's slime.
That's garbage. Don't drink that. Okay. Beg Littered Geek has won.
Be glittered.
What? I thought she's begging for litter.
Begging for litter.
Like a cat would beg for litter. Like, get that bottle out of the way. I can't see what's going on there.
She's got like purpley hair. She's probably glittery.
Oh, be glittered. Oh, okay. Well, anyway. Don't tell me to be glittered. You be glittered. Congratulations. Be glittered. Congratulations. You've won. So here's the thing. You need to send an email to support@mysterious.design. Include your name, your phone number, your mailing address. Do all of that in a not glittery, not flowery, not confusing format. And we will send out one of these calendars to you. And please do that within the next 24 hours, or else you forfeit your claim to all litter and other prizes.
You have been warned.
Now, when do these actually start shipping? Because they're not going to get them just right away.
We suspect, as I've put there, around November 9th. It could be a little earlier, but I'm just wangling in a little leeway for manufacturing issues and acts of God.
Right. So somebody says a cosplay friend of mine said glitter is the herpes of the craft world. Should I tell people what I did with glitter to that one person? No. Okay, I'll leave it alone. Anyway, so yes, congratulations, Be Glittered Geek, and that's wonderful. Where were we? We were looking at the presentation, and it's here. Okay. So I explained why merchandise is a part of this and the international community, whatever. So this slide is new. If you've seen this before, you have not seen this particular slide, unless maybe I think I did it. I did share an early version of this over on Patreon. So if you're an Insane Children, you might have seen it. But yeah, this basically outlines the crowd design process. Now, I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever going to actually read this. I think it looks great, but I just wonder if when you go to give a presentation and you put this in front of someone, are they going to sit down and read all this? And it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff crammed in here, icons and
this is a fairly heavy slide.
Right.
Yeah,
and
I don't know, man.
The other thing is that Alex has written some of the text for this, and Alex is our kind of lead Adobe Illustrator vector graphic artist, so he's really good at that kind of stuff, but he actually creates a lot of times very overly complicated images and art, which in some cases is perfectly suited to what we're doing, but in some cases not, and I have to constantly ask him to kind of simplify it down and to make it less complicated and less busy is the word I would use. Busy but good. Anyway, turns out his actual writing with words is similar. He likes to kind of he writes in a very flowery manner.
It is very flowery.
Very flowery. Busy, very busy. So there's some times where I'll actually write back to him in the style that he's written stuff to me, and then I think he gets it, because it becomes very difficult to read. Anyway, some of the text that's going on in here, it was like when you watch The Office and someone can say something, or write something for a paragraph, but like at the end of it, they didn't really say anything. So there was a bit of that going on here.
Right.
Which at the same time may be good, because when you see this slide, you do read the headline and it's like, we've got a unique creative process, which honestly you could just boil down to, we involve our fans. And you don't have to say anything else.
What a weird question.
What?
From Neerj. Are you actually making a third game, or are you just showing you what you could have made if you had the budget?
I don't understand what that means. Are you actually making a third game, or you are... Wait, where did it go? Showing us what you could have made in the game because you don't have... I don't understand that.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's like, are you really making a game, or are you just showing us what could have been? I don't think we would waste time doing all this just to like say what could have been. The plan is to make a game.
Yeah, so...
But yes, you are correct. We do need money.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have the money, please send it. Otherwise, we're going to get it from this investor we found here in China. Hi, McGee. I came back after some months of now following the development. Was the final decision of how the gathering money business will be handled? Will it be done by parts? So I think the question is, when we take investment, will we take investment from different groups? That's always an option, and it's certainly an option with the group that we're talking to. In other words, they have stated that if they put in a chunk of money, they will not bar us from taking chunks of money from elsewhere. And in fact, what's already happened is that this group, which is a Chinese, very large Chinese company, they've actually invested in several other Western developers and publishers. And one of the publishers that they invested in caught wind of the conversation and reached out to me and said, if that company, the Chinese company, gives you money, we too will give you money, and we want to have publishing rights outside of China in exchange for that. So what we're working towards here is, in fact, having multiple partners come in to make this a reality. So the anchor partner would be the Chinese publisher financier, and then followed by, depending on, it could be publishers from different regions, or it could be other types of investors from different areas. But yeah, there's nothing barring us from getting money from more than one source.
Yeah.
There you go.
So difficult talking about this stuff, always being mindful of what words,
that's okay.
company names not to say.
Again, look, it's all a behind the scenes thing. It's a peek into the process, and for some people this is interesting, for some people it's not. It's a very long process. It does take a lot of time. Some people get frustrated by that. But this is how the business goes, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're making it all as transparent as we can. Jays Black says, are you planning on selling an Art of Alice Asylum book? Yeah, sure. We like making books and calendars and stuff. I mean, obviously, we're really...
Would sell quite mightily, I believe.
Well, the original Art of Alice Madness Returns sells like crazy, so...
Yep.
It Will Be Legendary says, damn right. That is great news. I hope you guys find a way. Don't give up easily. Yeah, we don't give up easily. Can't give up easily in this industry. That's for sure. I'm glad you guys are doing your best. There you go. I'll be damned if it was Tencent. No?
I want to make a tattoo of Alice and the Doll Maker. Is it okay?
Yes.
Tattoos are fine.
Just don't put it in a dirty, naughty place, please. There is some people out there who've done that, and I don't appreciate it. So we have actually talked about Tencent in the past, and everybody who's watched those live streams knows I am not a fan of Tencent, and I would not approach them for money. I would not work with them, and they haven't approached us. So no, as far as I'm concerned, they can get bent. All right, so this is our creative process. Our creative process is unique. We could just leave it at that and just say something like crowd design involves customers through the entire creative process, and then slide over. But no. Now, hopefully this will just, maybe the people who are looking at this will be like, wow, that's a really complicated and cool slide. I believe it.
As the eyes gloss and they just scroll past, oh my god, this one's even more complicated.
This one is even more complicated. So as we've been working on the kind of called the unique selling point or the unique value proposition for what our business is. And that's important, by the way. When you go to raise money, people want to know why you are different from the other guys that they could potentially give money to, because when you take money, you're actually in a competition against a lot of other people who are pitching to get money. So it's important to remember that a lot of times when you go to try to secure money from an investor, you're not really asking the investor for money. You're asking the investor not to give someone else money. That's a really key point that a lot of people don't realize, is that getting money from investors is a what you call a dog and pony show, or it's a science fair, or it's a whatever. You've got to go and you want to get the first prize because there's actually like 50 or 500 or 1,000 other people stood in line with their hands out trying to get money from these companies. So that's one of the reasons why we do want to make our presentations look as slick and amazing as possible. It's why we do want to have physical goods that they can hold on to, because it makes us memorable. When people get just a presentation that's printed on basic paper, it's like throw it away. When they get something that looks like our presentations combined with like a bag full of gifts that are all linked into what we do as a business, that makes us memorable. It makes us unique. So that's one of the reasons why we do all this stuff. Now, this is Subscription Story Gaming, SSG.
Okay.
There was an earlier version of this, which was Narrative Games as a Service, and then is that called making it into an acronym?
An acronym.
Yeah, but the acronym for that is not politically correct.
It doesn't turn out sounding great.
So we're not going to go with that. But I thought it was funny, especially because there was this recent controversy around that word in Chinese sounding like what that acronym would be. And I could actually imagine where you would have the Chinese characters for that, and it could all link up and make a lot of fun, make it quite funny. Because also, anyway, I won't get into it, but there's a way to make the Chinese name come out sounding very funny if you want to be politically incorrect, and at the same time it would carry the meaning of Narrative Games as a Service. Anyway. So that is something that's being built into the model, and what we're trying to do here is suggest that when you buy into our model as a customer, you are buying in as a sort of subscription model. You may be paying $5 a month, but what that does is it gets you into the crowd design, it gets you into the merch, it gets you into the early access for the games, it gets you exclusive content, and it changes really the relationship between the consumer and the developer by bringing the consumer into, under the tent or in the house or whatever you want to say, and hopefully gives consumers a reason to be more excited about a game for a longer period of time. That's something tangible as well. It's not just like an in-game purchase and then it goes away. Is that you walk away with your credit, like your name is in the game, or you can say that you can take credit for a particular design idea or a look of a model or something in the game, and you get these physical goodies that go along with it. And maybe there's like backlinking. If you get a physical goodie, it unlocks something in the game, or if you complete something in the game, it unlocks you getting a physical goodie, stuff like that.
Sounds good. What's going on? Some people still talking about the art book, Emo Nerd Queen.
Yeah. So Lucky Dragon says something. He says, basically, we are paying to contribute to development. And that's true, but what's different is that, when you buy a traditional game off of marketing, which is just another word for propaganda, you don't know whether or not you're getting a good game when it's done in the traditional sense, right? So you go and you plop down $60 or $70 all at once to buy a thing in a box and then open it up and play it and decide whether or not you like it. Now, flip it on its head, and by the way, that is the same thing as we are paying to develop the game. I mean, when you buy a game, you're paying for the development. The only difference is that the money's already been spent to develop it. Now, what we're proposing here, it just kind of flips the whole thing around a little bit. You are paying to develop the game in both instances, but in this instance, you have a much lower upfront cost for involvement. It might only be like $1 or $2 a month, the same as we're doing on Patreon. Like if you just want early access to what we're doing, you only pay $1 a month. If you want to get a build of what we're doing, you might have to pay $5 a month, but you'd be able to see the development and be a part of the development And then you could decide early on, like, this is garbage, I'm not interested in this game at all, and check out. Or you could wait until we're like a year into development and we've got some pretty solid builds going, and then jump in for $5 or $10 to get early access, and then go, hey, this is great, I want to stay on board and I want to play this through to the end. And also, I think part of this model would be something along the lines of, like, there's a lot of you who've put money into Alice Asylum. There's a point where if we look at the money you've contributed, and let's say it's a couple $100 or something, you're gonna get a free copy of the game. Like, you're not buying the game anymore, right?
For sure.
You just get a copy. So I think there's a lot of pieces to the model where it's not really changing the nature of the relationship between you, your money, and a product that you get. It's just shuffling the timing around a bit. And I think that us explaining that in a way that doesn't tweak people in the wrong way is going to be a really big challenge. Like, we need your help to figure out how to make that make sense, because otherwise, yeah, we are going to run into people who have an initially negative reaction to it and just reject it out of hand. Now, it may just be that way for a while until the model has become established and people get used to it. But I think that's already happening to some degree. Like, over on Steam, you can get involved in early access, and you can play games before they've been officially launched. So we'll see how that goes.
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen is another one. Yeah. Well, I just watched.
It's made so much money.
Well, I mean, I just watched a thing on the Inside Gaming thing the other day, and they were being quite rude about Star Citizen, where I think that Star Citizen wouldn't have made that much money if the actual fans who are playing the actual thing weren't actually happy with what they're doing. Now, of course, there are going to be a couple of malcontents. We've had malcontents. We've had people who've popped up and said, hey, I've paid a couple of bits of money into this Patreon thing, and I'm not seeing anything happen, and I'm angry. And, it happens. I mean, you're not going to make all the people happy with the way the process works. And that's also the case with traditional retail products. Like, you could still have malcontents who bought a box product and be like, hey, I spent $70 on this and this sucks, And then they go write a negative review and the world keeps spinning. So that's always going to be a function of all this stuff. By the way, I don't think you guys sound like that. That was just my version of a complainy voice. So
I actually unsubbed from Inside Gaming.
Yeah.
Used to really like it, but then after like COVID hit and it just became like a Zoom meeting call, and I thought they started getting a little too much on the sort of childish bantery side of things for me. So yeah, I've left them behind. Maybe I'll go back after COVID, see what's happening.
Somebody says, what do you think about the Yandere simulator situation? We mentioned this before. It does come up. People make fun of us by mentioning that Yandere whatever simulator. I actually don't know. I've never dug in to see what that is. And so I don't know what's going on there. I should go look it up. I do understand that it's a game that's been in development for a very long time, and it hasn't been released, but some people are still supporting it. So that's all I know. So I can't give you a whatever.
Okay.
So here, this slide, those of you who've been following along may be aware of the fact that this has expanded greatly in terms of the people who are represented in it.
Yeah, I don't even know half those people.
Come on. So the thing is that these are people who would come on board, or in some capacity are already on board. Now, some of these people. So for instance, Roman here, this was the person that all of has been doing the work on the Alice 3D model. Adam here has been someone that I've known here in Shanghai, and I started Spicy Horse with 10, 15 years ago. Mark's somebody I've known for a long time in the investment community. Tomas used to work at Spicy Horse. Alexander used to work at Spicy Horse. So there's quite a few people here. Who's that? That guy looks like a douche. Who's that? Martin Barrage.
He's just terrible. He's the worst.
He looks terrible. Omri's there. Alex is there.
Jennifer looks a lot like a rabbit.
An angry rabbit at that. So a lot of people here are already on the team, artists, and then a couple of them are the key people we need to put on paper to show a potential investor that we have a real team and that team has real experience. And so, of course, one of the things you can see here is everybody's got their little fancy logos next to their names, having worked for Blizzard and having worked for Spicy Horse and EA and Crytek and Marvel, and right. So we've got a lot of really experienced people here. This is super important. You have to be able to show people that you can put together a competent team, and that's one of the reasons why they would trust to give you money. So this is looking really good. Now, of course, one of the big important parts of this is that we have highlighted our crowd designers. That is all of you, because again, that is a very important differentiator in our model. It's what makes us different.
Just looking at that highlighted, Yandere Sim has been in development for 6 years and showing no sign of being completed, with the developer using his Patron money to buy 2 Nintendo Switches and make body pillows of his characters who are minors. That's not cool.
I mean, is the guy making a lot of money on Patreon? Because if people are upset that he's bought 2 Nintendo Switches
and some body pillows.
That seems a little odd. Okay. Well, anyway, this is internet drama stuff. I have no idea who that is. I don't know what that person's been doing. I mean, if they are making, what is a body pillow?
So it's like a big full-size hug pillow that you can cuddle when you sleep in bed with a anime lady on, usually.
Okay. I
was told.
I don't know. Okay, that was the end of the sentence. I didn't know there was a period at the end of that sentence. I don't know what's going on there. But the internet's like this. The internet's just full of crazy nonsense that I don't understand. I kind of got into it a week or two back about this Cuties thing that Netflix had released. And, I saw both sides screaming at each other, and I sort of jumped in and said, look, you want to make a story about the downsides of religious fundamentalism driving children to be over sexualized, or just the sexualization of minors. I mean, that's what Alice Madness Returns was, but our trailer didn't feature Victorian girls twerking as a way to get eyeballs on the product, right? I mean, and that was the thing that really got me, was like, okay, well, you're trying to deal with a sensitive topic, and you're trying to explain that people should be aware of the negative effects of this type of thing, or maybe not, maybe that wasn't their goal, but to come out and feature in the trailer the kind of the thing that you're saying is one of the maybe negative aspects of what's going on in the film. Again, I haven't watched the film, so I don't want to represent what they're trying to say in the film. But anyway, using that as the marketing material seemed a bit off to me. So I went and commented, and I got a lot of weirdos in my tweets.
Weirdos on the internet. Who'da thunk it?
And I was just like, this is why I'm not on Twitter. Anyway,
yeah.
Where are we? We're almost at prize time, but let's go through a couple more of these slides. So yeah, team is super important. I cannot stress this enough. If you are a person who is coming up with ideas for story, for games, for whatever, and you go to ask people for money to make that a reality, nothing that you say or do or put in a presentation or the quality of your idea, none of it matters anywhere near as much as this one thing, this slide. You have to have good people, because if you cannot show that you've got people who have the skills necessary to complete the thing that you're claiming you're going to go and do, you're done. You're absolutely done. And some people have a name and a track record that's so good they can just go to a big company and say, hey, give me money, I want to make a thing, and then they get money, right? So yeah, I think that people often underestimate that. They think ideas sell. That's not true. And we're a good example of that, because our initial idea was Alice, but the company that we're pitching all this to didn't come to us just for Alice. They came to us for our people. And so when I then said, or they said, hey, shift gears, same people, but can you make something else to ramp up? And I said, Oz. They're like, great, that sounds great. So it kind of goes to show you, like, they don't care. I mean, as long as they think we believe in the idea and that our people are capable of doing it, then great, go do it. But what they really care about is who's on your team. and what are they capable of, and what have they done in the past, because that's how they manage risk. That's how they can know, yeah, these guys are a bunch of losers, no one should ever give them money, or hey, these guys have done a pretty good job of turning money into products and success. So
all right, there you go. Indeed.
All right,
It's time
for
I've got a good question, kind of.
Oh, I don't believe you.
Well, it was something somebody said in a comment when we were talking about body pillows, and somebody said, what would be on Frontlord's body pillow or something?
Can I take a guess at... Oh, is this the question?
No, my question is, it's a weird one. Who was your first anime crush?
Okay, don't look at me.
I'm looking at you.
I didn't get crushes on anime characters.
Come on, you must have liked one.
I mean, back in the day when I was really into anime, I would watch Cowboy Bebop, and I would watch Bubblegum Crisis, and I would watch, obviously, watch Akira, and watch, all these kinds of things. But I don't recall. Well, how about this? I'll just say that my first crush was on the main character in Cowboy Bebop, because he was pretty cool. So
He was cool.
I'd do him. I would do him. So,
right.
there you go.
For me, this is going back. It was Princess from Battle of the Planets. Gatchaman to all of you other people. It was called Battle of the Planets in the West. I thought when she transmute, when she turned into her like swan and cape and fucking thigh-high boots thing, young me didn't know what was going on, but I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I see that anime causes drama on Twitter a lot, so it's weird. There's these whole cliques. I mean, I'm in a bunch of like kind of subgroups of people from various aspects of the games industry, and and some of them have kind of anime interests, and I know that a lot of times I'll see a tweet go by that'll be like, mods are sleeping post anime titties or something, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what is it with? And of course, I've gotten involved in some of the controversy around games that feature kind of scantily clad anime characters. And I've said that, so long as they're not representing underage characters, then they should be free to whatever they want with their titties, whether they're anime or not. But I generally try to stay out of it. And I don't understand the whole, like, people being in love with anime characters. I don't get it.
Some people do.
I like anime film, when it's sort of the larger scale ones, again, like Akira, but beyond that, yeah, not. All right.
Well, a lot of names scrolled past that I didn't know, but I know Bulma from Dragon Ball, obviously.
Yeah, it's a whole world I don't understand. Anyway, we're going to roll it.
Roll it.
3, 2, 1. Anonymouse 75.
All right.
Congratulations, Anonymouse. You are the winner of the calendar, and you want to tell them what to do?
Send your name, address, and telephone number, and what you won to support@mysterious.design. Format it correctly, as if you were writing a letter. Do that within the next 24 hours, or you ain't getting squat.
You sound like Joe Biden. Do that in the next 24 hours, or you ain't... Whatever he said.
Is that what Joe Biden says?
Yeah, he told people they weren't black if they didn't vote for him.
All right.
And he did it just like that. He was like, you ain't black. And I just thought, that's really offensive on multiple levels. I don't understand. Yeah. So, here we go. Somebody says, do you go Natsuki or Sayori? Or no.
Pick one.
I don't know what that means. I really don't understand what's going on. Good. We're going to go back to...
The Fly has returned. Blooded Skull.
All right. So, where were we? So this begins the section of the presentation where we're going to talk about Oz as a game. Now, there is a addendum to this, which is a text document, which again, if you've followed along over on Patreon, you can actually go and download. And don't... I think it's this one, the map to Oz Adventures.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Lulu.
Don't lick Martin's leg, Lulu. It's disgusting. Yeah. So if you go over here, you will find that there is a post. It is open And there is a document linked inside of it. It's this Oz Adventures video game briefing document. Now, I think we may be up to a V3 on this, but this one may be close enough. So if you're interested in seeing, like, again, some of the stuff I've talked about, what is Oz Adventures, that's something we're going to send along with this presentation, because obviously we don't want to put like 14 pages of Word document text into the middle of all of our beautiful Anne Hathaway fighting Kalida's art. That's racist. Welcome, Shitty Walk. Take shitty order. Okay. South Park.
Stop it.
It's South Park. I'm just quoting South Park. You know, I got really, really in trouble once on Instagram because I used the quote "never go full retard" in reference to.
I saw the post with Jamie.
Yeah, in reference to Tropic Thunder, and somebody got really offended. A bunch of people got really
You make
offended.
a game with like somebody with like mental issues, and you're using that word, and they did not like that.
So people
quote.
don't like it when you quote films and television stuff that offends them. So anyway, so this is Oz. This is going to be the section where we talk about Oz to the people we're pitching to. Again, this is sticking all of the adventure bits side by side. So we've got, in this frame, it's the two... I don't actually know who these guys are. I don't know if those are supposed to be crashed plane pilots or what's going on there. They look quite adventurous, though.
They do.
I really like that image, that final image of that. If you can find that... I don't know. Yeah, that is this picture. If you go over to Patreon, you can grab that. That was my desktop image for quite a while. Again, because when I see a picture like this, I think, man, I want to go explore.
What's down through that valley?
Yeah, who's built that kind of half farmland-looking sort of place? What's that tower over there? Is that like a giant dildo? Anyway, so I think, questions may be better left unanswered.
Maybe.
But this is going to highlight what's going on with Oz Adventures. Now, I've been sending pieces of art like this to the team over at the publisher that we're pitching to, and they are beyond excited. They actually, the last time I sent them stuff, they were like, when do we get the presentation, because we want to hurry up and give you money. So
don't jinx it. Touch wood.
Yeah. But that's a good sign. You know, it's a good sign when you've got another party who are excited about what you're doing, which by the way, we've spent 2 years engaged with another company, showing them all the great stuff we're doing, and they just can't be bothered to care at all, and that's very annoying. I wonder who that would be. So here we go. This is a slide work in progress. Obviously needs some work. And then we get into the Alice Asylum stuff. So if you've been following along, you've seen this section of the presentation before, and the guys we're pitching to have seen all the Asylum stuff as well. So we're not going to put as much meat into the presentation around Asylum, but it is in there because we are talking to them about this concept of build a studio, build Oz, and then transition to building Alice. So there you go. I think that's kind of it.
Jay's Black asking, it looks like a follow-on question to something that I didn't see, but basically asking if there would be a camera mode in-game. Again, that's one of those kind of like new expected things that people have these days, like quality of life improvements that have happened in gaming.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I like picture modes and camera modes, but I am just awful at framing shots and filtering them and doing all this stuff. I tried my damnedest in Ghost of Tsushima, and I got some okay ones, but then you see what other people do online, and you just, I've got no eye for this.
Don't know, but yeah, I mean, those are generally relatively easy to implement. I think that, you know, beyond the basic implementation of a camera mode in a game, you then have to think and spend some time to really properly utilize it as some sort of a social sharing mechanism, or kind of linking into marketing or something, you know, that engages people and expands the audience and all that kind of stuff. So, but yes, we'll think about that. So anyway, where are we today? You've seen this presentation up to now, getting into stuff that we had built previously when this was just focused on Alice. And this brings us to where we are today. So what's getting made right now, as we speak, is between myself and Adam and Alex. It's like 3 A's. Adam, American, Alex. Anyway, between the three A's, we are putting together, and I kind of briefly showed a bit of that. We're putting together the sales cycle stuff, the burn rate stuff, the estimates for sales stuff, and this is how it starts off. Look, you giggle, but like you have to start somewhere. So we do start with.
I thought that said burn hate when I first saw this slide.
You should burn hate.
You should.
Stupid hate.
I wondered what it had to do with like gaming.
hate. Burn rate.
Yeah,
that's burn rate. So anyway, these are how we're modeling out what it is that the studio looks like from a financial perspective. And then that gets put into and beautified by Alex. Thank God we have Alex, or else our presentations would all look like this. What do you mean you don't want to give us $20 million? Did you see our chart?
It had 4 colors on it.
We're going to burn hate. Come on, man. Sorry. I think Joe Biden is hilarious. I hate U.S. politics, but that guy makes me laugh, So anyway, this is all getting cleaned up and rejiggered to reflect the new model of starting with Oz, then going into Alice, and we're also going to put in elements related to merchandise and crowd design and stuff like that. So these all get set up, and then again, this is like we have to make a case for the amount of money that we're getting and where we're spending it and how it gets burnt and how it comes back and all this kind of stuff. So there you go. That is the presentation that we're working on. Now I think that the next time we come back in 2 weeks, this will be done because we are almost finished and a lot of work has been going into this and we've been getting great feedback from our insane children. So, whew, good stuff.
There's a lot of stuff there.
There's a lot of stuff. We've been really busy.
We didn't even get like halfway through the art folder yet. Is this going to be a long stream?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Let's see. All right. Emo Nerd Queen says, does the money from the plushies and stuff directly support Oz, Alice, and such, or does it go somewhere else? So the way that we generally split up the money is that Patreon money goes to support the team, that is the artists that are doing the art like you see on screen right now. And as a general rule, Patreon doesn't, I wouldn't say it quote unquote makes money, because by the time you take out the platform fees and by the time you pay the artists and by the time we pay for all the shipping that we do. So just as an example, on an average month, how many art prints do we send out for Patreon?
Probably between 200 to 300.
Right, and there's some months where it's more, and then shipping is like on average, it's probably like $15 per tube. So there's a lot of money that just goes to pay for shipping, and then there's a bunch of money that goes to pay for artists. And so when we're completely said and done, if there is any money left over, it needs to be held aside to pay for taxes on the money that's come in. So when you put money into Patreon, it pays for what you see on Patreon. Now, it gets a little bit confusing sometimes because we also do crowd design for things like the plush rabbits, and we sometimes promote the rabbits on Patreon. When the rabbits sell, some of that money goes back in for the production stuff that you're seeing, especially if like our artists were involved on the production of the rabbit stuff. But by and large, when you see something that's selling on Mysterious, that's what keeps my family alive. And when I say my family, I actually mean myself. Martin gets paid out of the income from Mysterious, and then Yen and the other things that are going on at Mysterious, which involves marketing and involves product development and involves putting diapers on the child that's screaming upstairs there. So we do try to keep the accounts separate as best we're able, but there's a little bit of crossing of the streams that goes on there, but it can't always be avoided. Okay, so this is the caterpillar, obviously, and that is young Alice. And so what's happening right now is I'm in the process of writing, I don't know how you describe it, it's sort of the narrative outline for the entire game. And so as I'm writing that, a lot of key scenes are being generated, which I don't know if I have Google Documents on this computer. I probably don't, do I? Anyway, so key scenes are being generated, and one of the key scenes that's been generated for early on in the game, and which is going to repeat throughout the game, is Alice in these sort of consultation sessions with the caterpillar. Spoiler alert, if you don't know this already, the game is Alice's inner child, and she is trapped inside the adult Alice's psyche, and she's in her own little bubble within that psyche. So it's like a Inception bubble inside of Alice's brain. Anyway, the caterpillar now represents a character who can kind of travel between adult and child. So he's probably one of the only characters in her psyche who's fully aware of the challenge that she faces as the child self struggles to try to reintegrate and emerge from within the adult. That makes sense? So he's like her Morpheus. How about that?
Yeah.
So Morpheus understood, you know, Neo's conundrum. Morpheus understood that Neo wasn't aware of where he was and what was going on, right? So yeah, that is what the caterpillar is going to represent in all of this. And there is, oh yeah, so it's here. Okay, so I can pop this up on screen. Now, I'm not looking for feedback on this yet. I'm just showing that this work is getting done. So this is like the opening scene of the game, the slumber encounter. So she's being chased by the moon, who we'll get to in just a moment. And she's being talked to by the caterpillar from this sort of trippy, surreal realm that he occupies. And then she ends up in the circus. Now, when I wrote this part I'm really excited about because I've turned the whole circus thing into a musical.
Good.
Remember how I've talked about, like, I really want to do that?
I told you. To do, like, watch the Greatest Showman or whatever the chuff was called. It's great.
So I watched that, and then I watched Moulin Rouge again, and I've been listening to all this music in that genre.
Oh, you did watch it eventually.
Yeah. So so that is what's going on. It's sort of early scene tutorial stuff, and it's in this circus realm. And if, you know, again, there's tons of pictures about the circus realm over on Patreon, but this whole section is turned into a musical. So Alice is singing, the characters around her are singing, and that actually ends up being linked into how she later defeats the moon, because she's told that, and this is kind of one of the key points of the game, and I haven't really finished writing the dialogue line, but the notion is we're all given a tune when we're born. And you cannot change your tune, but you can change your lyrics. And so that point becomes something that she uses to escape from the circus. And when the moon comes to do his lullaby and put her asleep, there's going to be a gameplay component where you select the rhyming word to counter what it is that he's saying. So as long as you do it, and it's like what's the game I'm thinking of? Or the beat, whatever. Anyway, it's like that, and if you change the words the right way, you don't fall asleep, and you get to go beat up on the moon. Whereas if you fail, you fall asleep and you got to start over again. I'm sure I'll fail all the time. So anyway, that's all getting done right now, and that's where these bits of key art are coming from. That as I'm writing, the artists are then pulling key elements out, and we're going to be able to illustrate all of that in the design Bible from start to finish of the game. There you go.
There you go, indeed. Yeah, good news. Musical. Yeah, that opening number in The Greatest Showman, in the rink, that gets me every time. I love it.
Yeah, so I think that as an opening to a game, it would be very unique to have it start with singing, and I think it'd be really, really fun. And I'm starting to think like whether or not we should continue that theme throughout the game at certain points. Like, not the whole game is a musical, but just sort of key moments.
Yeah, I think it would be great. You know, we've talked before when you stick a song in a game, it can be quite good. Like in Gay's Dawn.
Yeah, they had a really great music sequence in there.
And such.
Yeah. So somebody got scared by that. Yeah, so this is another one of those key moments. Joey initially did a piece of art showing the moon, which, again, the moon is this thing that every time young Alice tries to escape from the circus realm, it comes and it collects her, and it puts her to sleep, and it drops her back in the circus realm. So Joey did the initial.
It should just appear that fast.
Well, it's written into yeah. So this was the original image that Joey did, and I love this. And I have another idea. I want to bounce off the Insane Children while we're talking right now. Do you see how in this scene right here, her hair is blonde?
Oh, Wendy J says it as well.
So how about this? I just think this would be the most goth thing ever. You know that early in so in this scene where she's in slumber and she's gonna see her family who've been on fire, and I have art in there for that. Where is it? Yeah. So she's gonna end up in her house, and there's gonna be this really creepy wrong scene where her family are all sat around the table and they're on fire. And then I want them to be all in rabbit masks though, and like have cooked rabbit on the table and stuff.
All
so it's
right.
gonna be really horrifying and scary. But she's gonna end up with the Vorpal blade at the end of this, and it's kind of what kicks off the adventure. And I had this notion, and I don't know if people are going to get all wonky because they're going to be like, it's not right, she never had blonde hair in any of the games, but I just was thinking, like, how effing cool would it be if we at the start of the game see her, she has blonde hair, and everybody who knows the game is like, no, she doesn't have blonde hair, what have you done to my Alice? And then the moment that she gets the Vorpal blade in hand and it like cuts her hands and she's bleeding and then her hair turns black. I mean, come on. You would get like hairs standing up on the back of your neck, or you'd get your nipples to get hard, or whatever happens when you get really excited about something. I just think that would be amazing. Just like blah, like Christopher Nolan blah sound, and her hair stands up and just turns black.
It would be cool, but I think firstly, blonde Alice runs the risk of us getting sued into oblivion, and technically her hair's not black, is it? I mean, people are always arguing whether it's
kind of a
brown
black
or
red.
auburn or
it's kind
something.
of a red. It's kind of a reddish black.
It's a fun idea, but I think it's too much.
Well, let's see. Let's see how it goes. I shouldn't have given that away because I actually think that's a really fun. By the way, I am holding back a lot of ideas like that I'm not sharing because I do want people playing the game to be like, what? What the hell? So I mean, there is a lot of really creepy, weird, surreal crap that I'm messing around with. It's getting written down in notes, but I'm not really sharing because I do want, even the Insane Children, I want them to have a couple of shocks, when they play the game. And I think that would be a good one. So maybe everybody who's listening to this will forget that by the time the game comes out, and they'll be like, why is her hair blonde? Ah! Now it's black. Okay. So also in the writing that's being done in the opening scenes, we're talking about the circus, and you know that we're going to confront Tweedledee and Tweedledum as the bosses in the circus, and that's led to a decision about after you get the Vorpal blade, the next two weapons you'll get, and you'll get them at the same time because they are the weapons that Tweedledee and Tweedledum were using. You'll get the Jack Bomb, or the Jack in the Box, which is a Jack Bomb, whatever, and you'll get the whipping tops. We're going to work on some ideas for redesigning this. We may stick with this as the final design, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, the idea is to give Alice a whip-type weapon which can be used to remotely trigger buttons and can be used to swing and can obviously be used as a weapon. So it's going to be a multitasking weapon that's got some range on it. And then, of course, this is multitasking because you can set a Jack Bomb down on switches and do all kinds of stuff like that. So that decision has been made just from a storytelling perspective that the Tweedles will lose these weapons once they lose that boss battle, and Alice will then acquire these weapons. So, oh, you got him! Martin killed him. That was it.
Did you hear it?
I heard it.
I heard it. Did they hear it?
That was a snap. That was a good one. Martin killed the fly.
Woo! I feel kind of bad now.
No, shush. He deserved it.
Oof.
Yeah, so this has been shared over on Patreon. We're going to be updating this some more. This is a very bad low-res version of it, but if you want to see the high-res version, again, go over to Patreon. This is just outlining the story and everything that goes on. So actually this is good, because if you don't want spoilers, you can look at this and you have no idea what it says, other than I'm just telling you that this is the narrative backbone and the structure of the story. Now I want to say something very clearly, especially to who is it that always comments first when we post stuff up?
Lucky Dragon?
Lucky Dragon, okay. Lucky Dragon, I know I saw in the chat there earlier. Hello, Lucky Dragon. We're about to talk about you. Ah! So Lucky Dragon and a couple of our other insane children had mentioned the concern. Oh, by the way, spoiler warning. We died?
I don't think we fully died, but it's not looking great.
It looks bad. Looks very, very bad. No, not now. Lucky Dragon's like, what? No! He was about to talk about me.
Again, people on YouTube, we have had a slight wobble in our VPN. Oh, it's coming back.
There it goes. Wow. Very strange behavior of the VPN today.
Yeah, normally it just fully dies for like several minutes, doesn't it?
Well, maybe it'll still fully die. Who knows? But it does appear that it's back, and
topple settle, whatever.
It says that it's back. It does look like it's back. We'll just give it a second there before we resume our conversation about what's going on here. I think we're okay. We're back, baby. On a delay. I mean, you might want to reload if we look a bit delayed. I'll wait just a moment here before we continue what we're talking about here. There are a couple more cool pieces of Alice art that came in. So this is Alice getting talked to by the Hatter about the missions that she needs to accomplish to put together the pieces for a champion to help fight against the chaos. So this was something that Norman illustrated. Obviously very rough initial sketch, but this will be a pretty key scene that kind of kicks off the second chapter, like midpoint after she's had her conversation with the Queen. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, these are all illustrations that we pulled directly from the story, so that when you read the story, these things can be sat side by side and give you some sense of like location and feeling for those scenes. Okay, I think we're back.
Audio sync issue. It's freeze.
Don't know.
Maybe reload.
Yeah. Is Lucky Dragon back? That's the question.
Probably.
Slow
Does
mo,
Lucky
no.
Dragon ever leave?
I don't know. Looking good now, says Emo Nerd Queen. Okay. Well, let's get into this really quickly. So, first of all, spoiler warnings. If you don't want to understand or hear about one of the major conceits of the narrative and Alice's situation in the story, then poke out your ears right now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So, there is this idea, which we are sticking with, about suicide as one of the key components to Alice's story. Now, we'd previously talked about her being in her room. We're working on, this is room art. This is actually a Vincent van Gogh image of a Victorian London sort of typical room that people lived in if they just kind of lived their whole life in one room there, right? So we're gonna find that at the beginning of the game, Alice is in this room, and we talked about having sort of, let's call it the suicide scene. So the idea was that while young Alice is doing her adventures around inside of the Wonderland bubble, adult Alice has actually gone through with committing suicide, and she's done that by stopping up at the flue in her stove, and now she's slowly suffocating to death as the room fills up with smoke and carbon monoxide. Many of you, especially Lucky Dragon, pointed out that there are sort of problematic to have a main character commit suicide and then come back from suicide, or the attempt at suicide, somehow revived or better or transformed, because it suggests that suicide or the attempt in itself is a sort of transformative process, and we don't want to encourage people to do that. And it kind of also goes against the nature of, for some people, Alice's character. Now, I've argued that I could understand why adult Alice, after having gone through everything she's been through and lost everything that she loves, why she would contemplate, and not only contemplate, but she would actually go through with a suicide attempt. So I can square that, and I think I could also square the notion that she attempts suicide and then in a sort of Inception like time dilation, all the things that happen in Wonderland happen within the few real minutes that are passing in the real world as adult Alice is dying. There's time dilation and life flashes before your eyes, and young Alice is doing her whole massive adventure. But look, some points were made about it being perhaps as reasonable and interesting to have what's threatening to destroy young Alice's Wonderland simply be adult Alice's contemplation of suicide. And so that there is a sequence of events over the course of a day where adult Alice is working up her nerve and working towards the notion of suicide. Meanwhile, young Alice within is struggling to break through the surface and reintegrate with the adult and slap her around and say, "What are you thinking?" So we're going to go that direction. I just want to be really clear. There will ultimately be no actual suicide attempt because it will be thwarted by the child who breaks through the surface and says, "Slap, slap, get your shit together. You're not going to commit suicide today." Right? So anyway, I just want to be clear about that.
Did Van Gogh put himself in his own picture?
Of course he did. He painted pictures of himself all the time. He's famous for self-portrait business.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Is that spoilers over as well? Can Umiria Kate be warned?
Yeah, I think spoilers are over now.
There you go, Wendy. You can tell her.
I think I would like to know, does that answer the concerns that were raised by Lucky Dragon amongst other people? So
looks like it.
Yeah.
They're so right there.
What?
So glad you are making this change.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Says Mr. Dragon.
Well, I can die a happy man now that I've made sure that Lucky Dragon isn't pissed off at me. So that's what life is all about.
It is.
Right. We are at the top of the hour. Is that a thing? The top of the hour?
Top of the hour? I've heard that.
Okay, well, we are there. It is now noon here in Shanghai. It is time for us to give away our fourth and final prize of the day. Before we do that, good timing, by the way. It's almost like we plan these things. Amazing. Before we do that, here's a picture of Lulu sat on a tapestry. And I only did this because I hope people don't miss out on this. This tapestry is huge. It measures 4 foot by 5 foot. And if Lulu doesn't do it justice for scale, then you can check out Lucky. Lucky's having a look at it.
Actually, Lucky looks massive in that perspective.
He does. But Yin also got in on the action and had a lie on it. So you can see here Yin laying on the tapestry, and it's freaking huge.
Like Alice would be on Yenny's body pillow.
Yeah, so it's funny. We were talking about body pillow stuff. So it looks to me like Yin has decided to perv out on Alice in her night suit there. But I also will point out that it's been hanging behind me there now for a while. It's really big. I mean, it's actually dragging on the floor.
It is. It's all getting all dirty on the floor.
It's anyway, I bring that up because earlier someone did ask, like, where does all the money go and what are you guys doing? And Mysterious is the shop where my family supports itself. So my wife is now like the lead designer over there at Mysterious. And she's doing all kinds of crazy stuff to bring new products to life. So she's doing wallets and she's helping out with the plushy Dreadfuls. And she's just recently put together this, where is it? Put together this this set. That one?
Yep.
Royal Blue Butterflies. Anyway, if you want one of these giant tapestries, it's in this set. There it is.
Will the tapestry be available in the future, standalone?
Yeah, but it'll probably be some months away. Otherwise, it sort of defeats the purpose. And Yin likes to sell these things because it's how my wife supports herself. So if you want to help support my wife and make her happy, which makes me happy, and if I'm happy that I'm writing and everything's flowing very smoothly, then maybe go consider buying a jewelry set from her. There you go. I'm just marketing my wife's wares.
Why not?
Why not? She did just put these wallets together, which I do have a folder full of this. These aren't actually for sale yet, but they're really, really cute. This is Mysterious stuff. So this is I want one of these so bad. We only have the one sample in the house, but I love this. Bad mother flipper.
My previous mysterious wallet from several years ago, it's getting a bit raggedy now, so maybe I'll get one as well.
They're really great. Yeah, so these wallets are inspired by the Plushy Dreadful dolls. So the Angry Rabbit, and then it's going to have its own wallet, and then that's the inside. You can stick cards and money and stuff in there. I don't even carry a wallet anymore, but I still want one of these. And then the Love Rabbit, he's got his own wallet. So yeah, anyway, that's what Yin's been working on these days. She's been doing the plush dolls, and she's been doing the wallets, and then she's been doing a bunch of other stuff that she's got in the pipe that's coming, like purses and
soup dispenser.
Soup dispensers, yes, all kinds of stuff. Let me just go through really quick the folder, because I feel like I've forgotten something. We've got Oz, Anne Hathaway. Jin is doing some new plush doll art, but it's kind of early still. A flying monkey. That we over on Instagram, you can help us decide if we're going to do the brown wolf or the gray wolf for the pig in wolf.
Gray.
I like gray. But anyway, if you want to vote on that, go over to my Instagram. Yeah, that's Hammable Lecter. I think we did it. I think we did all the art. I think we did all the stuff. Right? Anne Hathaway.
It seems like it.
Great. That's it. Okay.
Well, yeah, we need to do the last prize omnitor thing.
What's the question?
No, something. Well, we could gray or brown. No.
Yeah, I like that. That's an excellent question. So here, you hold up a. So yeah, tell us in the chat. For the Hammable Lecters, do you prefer a gray one or a brown one? Yeah, you can peel back the wolf skin to reveal a pig underneath. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, so let us know in the chat which one it is. Is it a gray or brown? I think gray has been winning in general.
I think it should win, but I've seen a few people going for brown.
Right.
A few.
Yeah, well. Now, while you're answering that question, I'm going to wrap in the do the things thing.
The do the things speech.
That way, when we roll it, you can just leave. Because everybody's... It's the only reason people are staying around is...
I wonder how many people would have on our streams if we didn't have prizes.
None.
Like 4 or something.
None. Where is it? What have I done?
You said you put it at the end.
I did, and now it's disappeared. Oh, there it is. All right. Go for it, Martin.
Oh, am I doing it?
Why not? My throat's getting sore.
If you want to you want to help us out, if you like our awesome style and stuff, there are 4 things you can do to help us out, 2 of which are completely free and also awesome if you can do it. Thing number 1 is sign up to the Alice 3 mailing list. Only real emails, please. Fake ones don't really help us out. Head on over there, fill your stuff in, subscribe. Done. We promise not to spam you too much. And we're really good about that, actually. We don't spam.
Sadly, I mean, it's a massive mailing list, and I'm always asking Martin, like, can we send marketing emails? And we're like, no, let's not do that. We do try to be good about that.
Thing 2, follow all the social media channels, like you can see right there. Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, set your favorites. Do all the things.
Smash like.
Smash like.
If you're on YouTube right now, smash like.
And then we get to the slightly more like pay things. So we have a Patreon, as you know. There are many different tiers on that, going all the way down to like $1 a month just for access. But the higher tiers, you get more access, you get things. Chaos Necklace, art prints. Head on over there, have a look at the different tiers. It's all pretty self-explanatory. And, of course, we have the Mysterious Store, which you've seen several times during this stream, probably. It's full of awesome stuff. Wallets, t-shirts, art prints, books. Calendars. Skulls. There's a lot of skulls. There's a section entirely for skulls. Yeah, so going over to Mysterious, Christmas coming up. Might be nice to, see if there's anything over there that you think might tickle someone's fancy as a gift.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 things that help us out. Thank you very much.
There you go. I wonder if American will mention how many skulls he sells. Actually, our skull sales have collapsed in recent weeks. I don't know what happened. We used to sell a lot of skulls, and then I said that too much, and now we don't sell any skulls.
We did do some skull marketing that isn't running anymore.
I don't know. Anyway, that's it. We're gonna roll it. See what Nightbot says, and it's L_101. It's a new one.
We didn't. No, they've been around.
But it's a new winner.
Oh, yeah.
But
we didn't even notice what people were saying, grey or brown. We were just too busy shilling.
No, I read a bunch of people said grey looks better on camera. I like both. Both are okay. I mean, it's just grey, brown. Brown looks cool. Boop. Do the thing. GTFO. Grey, 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 grey. I mean, most everybody, it's very heavily leaning towards grey.
Seems it.
Yeah, so I was keeping an eye on that because I know you don't look at it at all. So
I don't care what they say.
Yeah. So congratulations, L_101. Martin, please tell L.
Oh, yes. Send us an email, support@mysterious.design. Tell us what you won. Name, address, and telephone number formatted correctly on separate lines, not all in one long line. I hate that. And do that within 24 hours, or you can get bent, and you're not getting a calendar.
There you go.
There
Get
you
bent.
go.
You don't get. That's rude, Martin. You're terrible customer service.
We've never told people to get bent before.
No. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. What? You have something you want to?
No,
you freaked me out with that.
There.
It was like you were trying to get in there. Like, oh wait.
Actually, we do need an wait. We need to do the Lucky 5 over on Patreon.
Go for it.
And as such, we need to open it up to the rest of the world to be legal and above board. Yeah, so what are we going to do for the Lucky 5?
They should go into the YouTube comments and write barefisted. Pound barefisted.
#pound barefisted. When this is on YouTube, go into the comments, leave a comment as well. That would be nice to hear from you. But do #pound barefisted, and you will be entered into a prize draw for something we don't know yet.
A barefisted bear.
Are they getting close to being made?
They are getting. They're in production right now.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
We're going to do that for the Lucky 5? That's an excellent one.
I don't know. That's your thing. Whatever. You can give away a bag of garbage for all I care. I just thought we did that to keep from getting sued or something.
Yeah,
so.
it has to be over on YouTube.
We do give away nice prizes. It's not like...
That's true.
I
guess.
So anyway, yes, Martin will figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
All right. So go over on the YouTube comments for this video and #barefisted bear.
Right, #barefisted bear.
Or get barefisted.
Or some variant of.
500 years barefisted.
100 bears, Rick and Barry.
All right. Okay.
Are we going?
We're done. Thank you so much. We will see you again in 2 weeks. It will be our Halloween special. I've already bought funny prizes to give away for the Halloween stream. Don't get too excited. They're really cheap and crappy, but they're funny though. So.
And I've already got half of my costume sent to me.
There you go. So get ready. Get ready to be barefisted next 2 weeks.
Don't get barefisted.
Bye-bye.
Bye.